Osu so mi muti tai mi useta tu. O mama kuma tomi ya mi dream come true. Ufie kwa wasenkwa mecha mi shekambu. Osono ujemi ankwadro na menu. Yeto udo ujamwa kamekwa kofu. Oda so mi demo. Oda so mi demo. Fawanu betia manu. Mami wini se trapia. Fawanu betia manu. Mami wini se trapia. Oda so mi demo oba. Oda so mi demo shiti. Fawanu betia manu. Mami wini se trapia. Fawanu betia manu. Mami wini se trapia. Oda so mi demu oba. Oda so mi demu shiti. Senyo mi odiemi kabeye matu. Osu so mi muti tai mi useta tu. O mama kuma tomi ya mi dream come true. Ufie kwa wasenkwa mecha mi shekambu. Osono ujemi ankwadro na menu. Yeto udo ujamwa kamekwa kofu. Oda so mi demo. Oda so mi demo. Fawanu betia manu. Mami wini se trapia. Fawanu betia manu. Mami wini se trapia. Oda so mi demo. Oda so mi demo.
All right, and Brenya there, warming our holiday this morning, giving us a lot of excitement to be proud as Ghanaians as we mark the day. You'll have more for us in the course of the show. But my guest this morning will tell us exactly what Republic Day means to her. And perhaps we can go ahead to talk about the party that brought independence to Ghana, the Convention People's Party. Samia Yaba Nkrumah is my guest this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
Very well. Thanks
so
you.
much.
My God's
Thanks so much for joining
and happy
us.
Republic Day.
Same to you. So let's start from here. Republic Day, what does it bring to your mind?
Good. It was a very important day. Incidentally, you know, I was born a week before
Republic Day.
Yes. So mother tells me when I was born, father came with a big bouquet of flowers. And she said, "What are you doing? But you didn't do that for the boy." He said, "Yes, because this is a girl. It's a girl." Do you know how women were instrumental in our independence struggle? Do you know how instrumental they were? Moreover, she's bringing good news. We are going to be a republic in a week's time. So he was very happy about it. So anyway, Republic Day, I know things are hard, things are difficult, so maybe young people think, what's the significance? But actually, it's in 1960 that we unveiled our constitution and our second constitution,
right.
I mean, after independence. And that constitution was so significant because we severed the bonds with Britain. The Queen no longer became our head of state.
We were now on our own.
Not just our own, we were now owners of our destiny. Can you imagine the head of state of a country being from another country? No, unacceptable. So, but the constitution itself, the 1960 constitution, was a brilliant one. I mean, there's some notable, I will just pick two clauses. One of them says something to the effect that every Ghanaian citizen will have a fair share of what we produce. So there was fairness and equality, genuine sympathy with the people, people-centered. And another clause which was revolutionary, it said something to the effect that the only time we are willing to concede or cede our sovereignty will be for the furtherance of African unity. So it meant Ghana's becoming independent, to help other countries become independent, and for us to all help and work together so that we have an all-African Union government, the African nation that must be. And can you imagine if people had listened to Kwame Nkrumah in 1963, if the leaders had listened, and we would have had this great African nation? Things would have been very different.
The United States of Africa.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been struggling, every country on its own, borrowing money at high interest rates, struggling to industrialize. We could have industrialized continentally, great complexes. I think African people would have been much happier and
Those
wealthier.
two great clauses, as you put them, do you see them in the new constitution we're under now?
No,
sharing what we have as a country?
No, I don't see them, and I don't see that commitment towards African unity. And that is why I think partly why we are struggling. There's so much to do, of course, to change things, for genuine social change to happen. But I think one of them is that we've abandoned the original vision of independence, the original Pan-African vision. Ghana was never meant to develop in isolation from other countries. We simply didn't understand. When Kwame Nkrumah got up on the platform to say the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of Africa, I don't think we quite understood, because he was telling us something there. You know, that the way forward for African countries is to plan their economies together, to have unity or a unified foreign policy stand on issues internationally, and to build up our own defense strategy with our own military command. There wouldn't have been foreign bases in Africa. And look at the proliferation of foreign bases we have today and the impact of that on peace in our continent.
Tell me, why did we lose the vision? What happened? Was it after
there was the military.
Demise?
Yeah, there was a military, the illegal overthrow in 1966, of course, that turned things backwards. So we went right back into the colonial fold.
So they hated the idea of a Ghana that is developed through Africa.
Yes, a Ghana that would have the courage, to do things on their own, to rely on their own plan, economic development plan, not on financial institutions. They hated that idea of genuine, true independence, economic independence, and not just political. And of course, they hated the idea of Ghana pushing for African unity. Kwame Nkrumah sooner or later would have convinced his other leaders. They resisted in 1963, so we had a watered down version of what he originally thought about. But I think he would have kept on pushing for it until it became a reality. At least we would have had a nucleus. But it's never too late. And
if it is not too late, do you see efforts at going back to that Nkrumah's dream, that big African unity dream?
I see the efforts are not country. Right. There are some efforts, because we can't negate all what people are trying to do, the AU, the leaders going and meeting here and there. But I think the focus is not on political unification, because that's the one thing that would make a difference. You see, even having a common currency is a political decision. You see, you have to agree. You have to have unity of thought and unity of purpose to guide you into agreeing on smaller things. So you need to say we are going to collectively decide on the most important things: economy, foreign policy, defense. As for the other things, every country has autonomous or independent authority, just like under federation. So we are not going to seize. Leaders of countries will still be leaders, but they will be more like governors or mayors, because in certain things there will be collective decision making.
Right.
But hang on, if I were president, I would be relieved, because when I go to my people and make big promises and know it will be very difficult to implement them, if I know I'm making them and I have an African nation behind me and I'm going to be aided with other countries to do it, I will feel much more confident. I would rather be the president of Ghana under an all-African Union government than to be the president of Ghana on its own, struggling to get loans at low interest rates, struggling to meet the basic needs of our people. So I think if I were a leader, an African leader, I would be saying, yes, we should go for it. It would help me govern my country better.
You didn't really see 1960. You were a baby.
Yes, a few days old. But these were memorable
years. But I'm sure Daddy and Mommy told you a lot about those days when you grew up. Compare those days to what we have now, some years after Republican status. Is this the kind of development Daddy and Mommy were thinking about for Ghana?
No, it wasn't.
In terms of our infrastructure?
No, it wasn't, and I think that's why we are struggling. And I think until we go back and study and revisit that original vision for independence and African unity, we will remain struggling. I think our refusal and rejection of that vision is costing us a lot. And I'm saying it and wanting us to think beyond political parties, beyond partisanship, because we know that we have great minds in Ghana.
Right.
They can belong to different parties. We know that. But there are good people in every party, or people affiliated with different parties who are brilliant, who are good. We know that. But the day we rally behind the vision, and I think the best vision that was presented to Ghana was the one that came to us in the 60s. If we can rally behind it and adapt it to today's changing circumstances,
then we'll be making way.
I think we make great progress.
The NDC and the NPP has ruled this country since the journey of the Fourth Republic in '92. Do you see them able to go back to that vision?
No, with great difficulty. I mean, certain things they do, like free senior high school. But the vision was free education from kindergarten to university. So you see, there's some attempt here and there, like one district, one fact. There's an attempt, but it's a struggle. It seems to be a struggle.
Because of inadequate resources, or what? Because
of inadequate vision, if I may say so.
The vision is not deep.
The vision is, yes, and it's not comprehensive. So let's go back to our grandfathers' teachings. Because, if you have your grandfather sat to write copious notes, recommendations, serious ones. I mean, this leader wrote about 14 books or so. And the 7-year development plan is there in addition. So if your grandfather sits and writes all these recommendations to you, and then you come, you burn them, or you just abandon them on the shelves, and you go to outsiders to say, hey, how am I going to manage? Can you please help me manage my own home? What would the consequences of that be? That is what Ghana has done.
The CPP is your regional owner of that vision.
Kwame Nkrumah's
CPP. Kwame Nkrumah's
yes,
CPP.
Kwame Nkrumah's CPP.
But
that too has been abandoned.
I want to bring it to 2018 CPP. So you're suggesting that the CPP, Dr. Nkrumah's CPP, is in the same CPP we have to be?
It definitely is not. I know that some,
what has changed?
Maybe amongst those who went back to get the name, because there was a big interruption, decades. And I know that some of those who went back to try and get the name CPP were genuine, they were sincere, but others were not. You see, so the situation we have now, smaller parties are not effective because many of them are surrogates to either the NPP or NDC, particularly in an election year. That means that they don't articulate an independent alternative vision. Now, what we all know in Ghana now is that we need an alternative to the NPP and NDC.
And the CPP is not ready to do that?
Definitely not. This CPP with this shape and form.
Because of splinter groups?
Because of not following Nkrumah's and ideas and articulating them. So there are many of us who we want to create that alternative. And you know what? That alternative can have people from the CPP, PNC, PPP, NDC and PP, because there are even followers of the NDC and NPP who are not content with their own parties.
Are you creating an alternative out of the CPP? Is that what you want to do?
We are creating an alternative out of all Ghanaians.
You won't call it the CPP?
Let's liberate ourselves from names and from parties.
So you won't call it the CPP again?
The decision will be left to the people involved. I'm not
you will recommend it is not called the CPP?
No, I am recommending that we free ourselves from partisan politics so that we can create an alternative to the duopoly, the 8-year rule of NDC, 8-year rule of NPP. They have tried. There are some good people in both parties, but let's face it, if you take a survey now, you will see that the majority of Ghanaians will say, we want an alternative.
And if anybody asks if the CPP is ready to be that alternative?
I don't think, you ask the people, don't ask me, but I tried to steer the CPP in an Nkrumah's direction, or let's say based on many of the teachings of Kwame Nkrumah. God knows I tried. I was not successful. But maybe for a good reason, because maybe we have to look wider. The whole nation is there. You see, let us get out of the boxes of this party or that party. I think it is time we rally around a vision for development for Ghana, so and we can do it.
You've just concluded that the CPP in its current shape can't be that alternative.
I don't even think you need me to tell you that. I don't think you need Samia Nkrumah to tell you that.
Let me pick your brains on this. Who would you recommend should lead the CPP, the new CPP?
I think we are bogged down with the who's and the personalities, you know. I think let us look at vision. Let us look at ideas. Let us rally behind ideas and vision, not people.
Personalities.
For now. The personalities will come. We are saying there are many brilliant and good people. You know, I set up the Kwame Nkrumah Pan-African Center so that we can hold conferences, we can start republishing and relaunching Kwame Nkrumah's books, because I think we need to study them. We need to go back to the origins of modern day Ghana, how we came into being as a state, and what were those plans that we came with. I am pretty sure that the day we study those, the day we are more familiar with Nkrumah's ideas and way of thinking and way of operating, that selfless way of operating, I think
we'll get where we want to go.
We'll get where we want.
Let's wrap up our conversation. The Electoral Commission, as you see today, and what's happening to it, in moving to the next stage, what can we do as a people, as a country, as a state, as government, to reshape that commission?
Absolutely. It needs to be revolutionized. All that is coming to the surface has their root causes for it. And one of them is that the people at the top hierarchy of the EC must be perceived and be neutral and objective. They must be appointed on merits, not to be seen to be associated with Party A or Party B. This is essential. You know, our democracy has to deepen, just like our mayors in our great cities have to be elected, DCEs and MCEs or whatever we call them. They all have to be elected, you know. And
so you
there
call
has
for
to be
an election, not an appointment from
definitely,
the presidency.
Not for the EC. Okay. I mean, I can't imagine how they can be elected, but you know, but no, because they have to be seen to be neutral, very neutral, and it's very easy to research backgrounds of people. You can research my background very easily. You know where I stand. You know, full disclosure with the contracts. Because it's important to know which company is going to be dealing with your biometric. These things, people, full transparency and disclosure. People must know, because people must be part of decision making. The day people know more and are part of decision making, democracy is going to deliver.
So we'll have to wrap up. I'm so grateful. We've run out of time this morning. Thanks so much for talking to you.
Thank you.
I wish we had more time to talk.
We will.
But we will continue talking.
Yes, and happy Republic Day.
I'm grateful, and thanks to all Ghanaians. Samia Yaba Nkrumah is the daughter of the first president of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. Of course, the conversation will continue as we mark the day. Thanks so much for your time with us. Brenya will carry us on into the day. Have a happy Republic holiday and stay healthy. Good morning once again.